All 4 Canadians survived the second round of the French Open despite navigating rain delays and uncertainty about some of the scheduling of the games.
All right, so let's check in right now with friend of the show, Mike McIntyre. He, of course, is from Tennis Canada, co-host of the Matchpoint Canada podcast. He talks to all the Canadian players on a fairly regular basis. He also talks to us as well, so we're pleased to welcome Mike back to the program. So, Mike, let's talk about the Canadians in action. Let's start with the women because they were the ones sort of dealing with some of the biggest delays and, lengthy matches just based on it sort of covered days or two here. So why don't you kick it off with Bianca and Leylah?
Yeah, great to be back talking with you, Nick. It must mean that the Canadians are doing great, which is fantastic. And I was wondering after I spoke with you on Monday, was I a little too complimentary thinking that they had a great chance to move towards the second week? And now here we are, and they're all still alive. So, yeah, starting with the women, Bianca Andreescu, we all know what she's capable of doing when she's healthy. And unfortunately, that too often has not been the case for the 23-year-old, as she's faced many injuries in her young career already. But she's off to a great start. She took out the 23rd seeded Anna Kalinskaya the other day. And she's a player that nobody in this draw is going to want to face because they've seen so little of her in the last 9 months. Yeah. She hadn't played a match since last August in Montreal at the National Bank Open. But she's really reminding us of what she's capable of doing, that she is a top professional tennis player, worldwide tennis player, when she's able to play on her own terms like she is here.
Yeah, I just love that raw emotion from her. It just says it all, the way she reacted there. All right, turning to the men's side, we have Felix Auger-Aliassime, Denis Shapovalov. They're still in. How do you think they're going to do going forward?
Yeah, both of those guys are in tough because they're playing players who are seated higher than they are. They've also had a lot of matches interrupted because, as you mentioned, Nick, the rain has been just killing the flow of things over in Paris recently. So they've got to play again today after just finishing their last match yesterday. But fantastic to see them both in the third round. It's actually the first time we've had 2 Canadian men make the third round of Roland Garros. So it's a little bit of history being made, and hopefully they keep going. Felix Auger-Aliassime is up against a younger opponent in Ben Shelton, an American who's not known for being a terrific clay court player. So this could be a good opportunity for Felix, who just made the finals in Madrid a few weeks ago. And for Denis Shapovalov, he's up against the 8th-seeded Hubert Hurkacz, a really tough player that he has a losing record against. But Denis is playing terrific right now, and he's a streaky player. So when he gets on a hot streak, again, he's one of those guys that no one's going to want to face. I think the 4 Canadians, let's not forget, I forgot to mention Leylah Annie Fernandez as well, who's alive and well in the draw. I think the 4 of them, there's a good chance that we have at least a couple who are still standing come the next few days. And
of course, Denis beating Tiafoe, that's a good win for him, no doubt about that. Let's talk about some of the perhaps more likely favorites. No knock against the Canadians, but we're talking, Alcaraz, etc. How are they faring so far in Paris?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to Canadians, we don't grow up playing on the clay, so it's not our surface of choice. Although there's 1,000+ people waiting on the Mimico Tennis Club membership here. That's a clay court tournament, so clay court club. So there's definitely people that want to get better on the surface. But I would say the other players on the women's side, it's really Iga Swiatek, the heavy favorite, the world #1, who's won the French 3 of the last 4 times. There are a couple other strong players like Aryna Sabalenka and Elena Rybakina as well, who can rip it on clay. But Iga is really the one that stands out. And on the men's tour, it's a little more wide open because there's been so many injuries lately. And even Novak Djokovic, who's seeded #1, he's had a very erratic season as he is getting older. So I think on the men's side, it could be more of not a surprise champion, but it's hard to peg down who that last player standing is going to be, really.
Okay, Mike, listen, we hope we chat with you next week as more Canadians continue to push through in Paris. In the meantime, have a good weekend, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks both of you. Take care.